In this interview, we hear Real Life Productions interviewing Jaguar Wright talking about Cassie's relationship to Albie Shore as well as Diddy. Who was the love of her life? What type of relationship did she have with these two men? Now, I couldn't quite make out the audio of the person doing the interview. I think it was either Real Life Street Stars, Real Life Productions, or the Cuddy Gang.
I'm not going to say shit. But if you ask me a question, I will give you an honest answer.
What was the situation with Albie Shore and Kim Porter?
They were madly in love.
Before Diddy came into the picture, and it was just Diddy working for Andre Harrell, and then it was Albie Shore still being with Kim Porter.
Hold on 1 second, babe. Can you do me a favor? Can you go on your phone and pull up Jodeci Forever My Lady?
Song was written by who?
Albie Shore.
And who did he write the song for?
Kim Porter, when she was having their son Quincy.
Now, back in the day, I used to jam to that song. I never knew, though, that Albie Shore wrote that song and the reason why he wrote the song. Listen, I'm always learning something about these folks in the music business.
And who put Jodeci out? Who was responsible for putting Jodeci out?
I mean, Diddy was responsible for it. He was really the talent finder for Uptown MCA.
What was the situation between Kim Porter and Albie Shore when Diddy stepped into the picture?
They were married. She was married to Albie Shore, which would probably explain why she never married Diddy, even though she gave him 3 children.
So when Kim Porter died, she was still married to Albie Shore. So I'm wondering, why did she allow Diddy to adopt her son, Albie Shore's son? I thought I was so wrong on every level because this boy had a father who was making money in the music business. There was no reason for Diddy to adopt Albie Shore's son. But what I'm really surprised at is that Albie Shore did not really fight harder for Diddy not to adopt his son. Because let's face it, Diddy didn't like him because he had the woman that he wanted, who was Kim Porter. When he finally got Kim Porter, you know, if he adopted his son, he was going to poison that son against his own father. Diddy was going to make sure that Quincy did not have a close relationship with his father, Albie Shore, allegedly. So according to Google, when Quincy was 3 years old, his mother, Kim, began a relationship with Diddy, who eventually adopted Quincy. But why did he have to adopt Quincy? That's my question. Quincy had a father and still have a father, Albie Shore, who's very much alive. That I could never understand. Because it's not like if Albie Shore didn't have his own money, he put out all those hit tunes, so he had his own money. Maybe he didn't have as much as Diddy, but he had enough to support his child. Google also said that Quincy was not close to his biological father when he was being raised by Diddy. Although now he's a grown-up and he have a relationship with his father. But this is what I was saying. Diddy probably poisoned his young mind against his own dad because Diddy didn't like Albie Shore to begin with. He got the girl that he wanted from Albie Shore and he got his son. I mean, how much more did he want from this man? His life?
She was married to Albie Shore, which would probably explain why she never married Diddy, even though she gave him 3 children. A man that loves you so much, he writes one of the greatest love songs of the 20th century. They saw Kim coupled up with Diddy, but the true romance was everything that happened between her and Albie Shore. She was loved by that man. She was loved by that man completely. And she was totally treated like a trophy and a bill with the other one. She wasn't nothing but another bill he had to pay. That man ruins lives. He's got a gift for it. He's got a gift for ruining lives, and knowing how to profit off of it.
Young Miami better watch out. I tell you that.
I pray for that girl. I do. I say a prayer for her every day. I understand why she's doing what she's doing. No hate, no shade. All I say is please look at his track record. Look at what you've been through and make sure whatever it is, it don't happen to you.
She thinks she's the exception to the rule, and
listen to me. Everybody thought he was the exception. Nobody had Diddy hemmed up tighter than Kim Porter. Not even Cassie. Kim Porter, the only chick that ever had him on his heels at all.
There's this book that they said that Kim Porter was going to release before she died. I hear a lot of people talking about.
From what I've heard, from what I consider credible sources, she was writing her life story. I'm going to tell you something right now. If she had ever gotten a chance to finish that book and publish it, it would have not been good for the bad boy legacy.
Well, what Kim Porter could not do because she was unalive before she can get to publish her book, Cassie did with one sweep. One lawsuit is about to bring down Bad Boy. Well, maybe not totally, but it sure did put a dent in that pocket of his. So, guys, Kim Porter must have been miserable knowing that she left. I'll be sure this man who had her on a pedestal, treating her like a queen. They were still married at the time that Diddy was putting hands on her, and she was trying to defend herself the best way she knew how. And I'm telling you, what that little boy must have seen. Because remember, Quincy was 2 and 3 years old when she got with Diddy. So Diddy, instead of respecting Al B. Sure's wife, respecting that Al B. Sure was married to Kim, and respecting that man for being a husband, he moved right in, slid right in like the snake that he is. Because you're not supposed to lust over a man's wife. Is not what the Bible says? This man had a wife and a child, and Diddy slid right in and took that woman away from that man. Of course, there's an old saying, you cannot take someone away from another person if they're not willing. So in this instance, the fault is not all P. Diddy's. Kim have some type of level of responsibility also. She was married and she allowed a man to take her away from her husband. But I'm wondering how the kids feel with all these accusations going on, flying around, and what's going on with Cassie and Diddy. How are the children coming to terms with what's going on? Because we forget about the kids oftentimes in this type of mess. So I hope they're okay, and maybe, just maybe, if they're having trouble with dealing with it, maybe they need some type of counseling. So I'm sure at the time Kim was looking at the money. Oh, did he have all this money? He's the head of Bad Boys Entertainment, and he's a mogul right now. He's got a lot more than I'll be sure my husband. But I guess she must have gotten second thoughts once she left that relationship. There must have been a whole lot of regrets to know that she left this man, I'll be sure, who had her up like a queen, for Diddy, who treated her like garbage and beat her to the point where broke her nose on vacation one time. Can you imagine going on vacation, coming back with a broken nose because this man can't stop beating you, can't stop putting his paws on you? And she left, I'll be sure, for that mess. So I'm sure she regretted it. And I guess I'll be sure would have taken her back. But because I guess she was a little afraid of Diddy, because he had all kinds of, Gene Deal said he had bugs all over the house, the phone, the house, so he knew who she was talking to. And if he found out she was talking to anyone, he'd beat her ass. So that's the kind of fear that she was living in. That's why she didn't go back to Al B. Sure. But she should have went back. Al B. Sure would have protected her. But word is that at that time, nobody could be protected from Diddy because Diddy had a long reach. And if I'll be sure and Kim had gotten back together, maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't have been here today to tell the tale. Of course, this is all alleged. But when I'll be sure's son, Quincy, was little, they had a very strained relationship. He did not get along with his son because, for obvious reasons, Diddy adopted him, so I'm sure Diddy did not want the son to be really cozying up to his biological father. Because remember, he took the son away from I'll be sure and he took his wife. So it's not a surprise to me that the relationship between father and son, Quincy and I'll be sure, was a strained relationship. Slap in the face all the way around. And you guys, I'm sure you have heard or you're around people who are like that. They're very envious minded. They see what you have and they want it. They see what other people have and they want it. And they will plot and scheme and do everything in their power to take it one by one away from you. That's pretty much what Diddy did in my book. He took his wife away from him, took Albie Shore's wife, and then he made Kim sign over Quincy to him as a father. I don't know how he convinced Kim to sign papers for him to adopt Quincy when Albie Shore was right there, alive and well. I can understand if he was dead and Quincy needed a father figure and, he adopted him on those grounds. But Albie Shore was alive at the time. And Kim didn't get a divorce. So what was she thinking? She was out of her mind. Because if you examine it, ladies, now Kim is not married to Diddy. She's married to Albie Shore. But yet she's going to let this man she's just living with adopt her son, not knowing if the relationship between her and Diddy was going to last and lead into marriage. And like I said before, it's not like if Albie Shore didn't have his own money. So I don't understand this whole three-way between the two of them. Why did Albie Shore allow it? Why did Kim sign papers? I don't understand it, and I never will. A son that she's got for her husband. Who does that? What the hell? I'm still scratching my head. How could Albie Shore allow that to even go down? There's no way any sane man would allow that. The way I'm looking at this is he should have taken it all the way to the court. The minute Kim came to him and said, listen, Diddy wants to adopt Quincy and I'm going to allow it, he should have taken her to court and stopped those proceedings. That's how I'm looking at it. Well, you see, music business is a funny business. These people got money and they can make you go away permanently if you don't do what they want you to do. So I don't know if Albie Shore felt intimidated or scared. I don't know. This is all alleged, folks. Now, I'm just wondering over the years, how did he treat Quincy? If he was kind to him, because Quincy looks just like Albie Shore, spitting image. Every time Diddy looked at Quincy, he saw Albie Shore. So that must not have been a good feeling. Quincy was a constant reminder to him that his father was still around. Anyway, guys, I'm over and out. Drop your comments. I'll see you guys on the next video. Hit the like bell as you exit the page if you haven't done so in the beginning. I greatly appreciate it. And also subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. I'm over and out. Thank you for watching.